after. Is that different to how it used to be? Say when you were in charge of Leicester, I can't remember too many players coming back and playing in fallow week. Has that been a kind of slight shift in policy from that point of view?
Obviously, I'm not really sure, but I think Eddie sees it individual by individual, and if guys need game time and it suits what they need and what we need, then the guys have been released to play. So I think it keeps the clubs happy because they get their players, and I think Eddie releases them because he thinks that it would be good for them to get some game time under their belt.
So you make the call that them playing is more advantageous than them being in this sort of mini camp this week?
Yeah, look, I think keeping guys sharp and match fit is really important. And like I said, Eddie has those discussions with those individual players. And if he feels it's better for them to go back to their clubs and play, they go back and play, which is good for everybody.
And just finally for me, Richard, this doesn't preclude them from selection for Ireland if they're out of camp this week, does it?
No, not at all. I think it's about keeping players sharp. So when they get the opportunity, if they need to start, sit on the bench, finish the game, they're ready to go.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Ben Jacob, please.
Hi, Richard. Yeah, after breaking the record on Saturday, Ben Youngs praised you for giving him his first ever shot at Leicester. How much has he grown over the years, and what's he like as a professional?
As a professional, he's now probably the ultimate professional. I'm not sure he always was when he was a younger man. Look, he's grown immensely. He hit the scene at 17, and he was he could score tries from nowhere, and he was a fantastic talent. But since then, he's had to obviously improve his game around his kicking and his passing and his game understanding, which obviously comes with time on the field. And he's sort of reinvented himself, to keep going as long as he has, and to play at the level and the standard that he has is credit to him. So from the young man that started in 2007 to where he is now, he's a completely different player, as you expect, and also grown as a person.
And uncapped London Irish forward Will Goodrick Clark has been called up to the squad. What impresses you about him?
Oh, he's been on good form for his club, and we're always trying to build depth in key positions. So he's a big man. He carries the ball hard. He's a good set piece player, and obviously Bevan Rod needs to go back and play because he needs some game time. Joe Marler the same, to keep him sharp, and it was a good opportunity to bring him in and see what he's about.
Thanks, Richard. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Liam, please.
Richard, how are you? You've got Tom Curry and Johnny Hill there as extra players on top of the 25 there. You couldn't give an update with regard to their potential availability to play against Ireland next week. Tom's got the concussion. Johnny Hill's been carrying that knock for quite some time. What's their state of play at the moment?
Tom's going through normal return to play protocols, as any player would. So we expect him to come through that and be ready for training next week. And Johnny Hill has taken full part in training both yesterday and today. So positive news on him. So that's exactly where they're at.
Okay, will Johnny be available for next week? Will he come into selection plans?
If he comes through training fully with no reactions, there's a good chance he'll be available for selection.
Okay, and now we're 5 days on from the Wales game. What's been the takeaways from you? What's been in your plans on the back of that for this week of training?
Oh, lots of good things. Really, really big start to the game. Obviously, got a good lead. I think for us is then just making sure that we control games when we have control of the game and not let teams back in. So Wales are a good side. We knew they'd come back in at some point, and they did that. So just controlling the game at key moments, and also taking our opportunities. We felt that we left some opportunities out there, and we want to be aggressive in our attack, and we want to take teams on. And parts of that we did, and parts of that we can be better at. So that's a key part for us this week.
And what's your view of Ireland and how they've been going so far in the championship?
Yeah, they're a very good side, aren't they? They play a really good style of rugby, very physical. The way they carry the ball and the way their forward pack go about their business, and their backs have been impressive. So they're a very good side and want to be well respected. So we're looking forward to the game, but we know it's going to be a step up from what we've played so far.
Thank you, Richard. Cheers.
Thanks, Liam. And Luke McLaughlin, please.
Hi, Richard. Do you think, looking at what happened with Ireland against Italy, could that be a disadvantage for them at all? I mean, from a coach's point of view, it's not ideal, is it? Uncontested scrums and the other team going down to 13. Is that something that might disadvantage them slightly in terms of not being battle hardened?
Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, obviously, it's difficult when you get into that scenario, and obviously, uncontested scrums makes everybody have a bit more energy, and it obviously 13 men and how you play and how they play, it makes it very, very difficult. So, I'm sure it's not ideal for Ireland, but look, they're a good side. They've got a lot of experience in their squad, so if anything, they'll be fresher than they would have been.
Thank you. And do you have any thoughts on that in terms of, obviously it's been a big talking point in the last few days, didn't look ideal from a wider perspective, maybe for people who don't watch much rugby. Do you have any wider thoughts on that?
I think it's a little bit unique, isn't it? Because obviously with the hooker getting injured very early and then the hooker getting sent off, it made the whole thing conspired against the reason why the laws were brought in. So I think in isolation, it's not a great spectacle for the game, and it does ruin the game to a point. But I think it's a unique situation where an injury happens and then the same player then gets sent off. So I think the player safety is paramount, and you're unlikely to see a similar situation happen again. It's pretty unusual, I'd imagine.
Thank you very much. And final one from me, from a coach's point of view, preparing for the Irish front row, is that particularly demanding one from your point of view?
Oh, they're very, like I said before, they're very good at their set piece, and that's going to be a real battle, both scrum and line out. So that's going to be, where the game is probably won or lost. So we know that what they're going to bring, and we aim to match that and make it a fierce contest.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, and we'll go back to Chris Jones for one more section. Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Yeah, just one more, Richard, on Manu Tuilagi. You obviously know him better than anyone. You've coached him for so many years. A lot of focus on how to manage him. Was there anything you as coaches would have done differently in Wales Week in hindsight, and anything you might do going forward to try and get the best out of Manu at this stage of his career?
Oh, I don't think. Look, we have a very good S&C program here, and we obviously liaise with the clubs daily. You've got to prepare guys to play Test match rugby, and obviously Manu was doing that. So I don't think we'd do anything differently. We don't want to injure players, and moving forward, we've just got to make sure that as and when he comes back into club and Test rugby, that he's ready to go. Manu's got a long history of injury, especially around the hamstring, and it's something that clearly both club and country would like to get to the bottom of and solve, so he's on the field more often.
Would you like to get him back if you can for the end of the championship, or is there a feeling of, look, let's just maybe see where he is a few months down the line?
Oh, let's see how he goes in the next couple of weeks and see how he rehabs back from this recent setback, and then it's a decision to be made at a different time, I think.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Dominic, we'll end the live section there. Broadcasters, can we politely ask you to leave the corners back on, or shall we pop you in the waiting room? Thank you.